in your experience, do you believe that kickers really can be affected by timeouts that occur right before their kicks? Does icing a kicker work?
Yeah, I think it does. I think it works on certain kickers. So there's some kickers that focus on the task, and you're wasting your time with them. Where other kickers, you can tell they focus on the situation. You shift on those guys, and they feel it. Certain guys that throughout their career, young players, you got to test them. You got to find out if the timeout affects them. You got to find out if motion from a corner affects them. But that in the league. You know who most of these guys are. Now, last week we didn't know. With a rookie kicker. But yes, I do. I think it affects some of these guys.
We take for granted Brandon's going to make most all his long kicks. On the long kick, did he plant funny or did he just push it?
He didn't plant funny. He overstride it. And so, for example, like if the ball's down, his foot got way out in front, so he jammed himself, and it's like getting an inside fastball, pushed it out to right field.
He knew right when he kicked it.
Overstrided on his plant foot.
AJ Cole, what sort of weapon is he for them?
He's a stud. Both these guys are. AJ's kicking the ball out to the edges, and he's kicking it really, really far. And doing a great job of kicking out to their gunners. He's doing a great job. He's also a fake threat. They've ran 2 fakes. They ran dives, but what we can't forget about is he can throw the ball also. But I think he's really, really progressed this past season. And Rich has done a nice job of, just really making it easy for him where he's kicking the ball, and he does the same thing over and over again. You don't see his technique changing. And Carlson's having a great year too. Both these guys are weapons for him. Thanks.
You guys, because we probably won't visit before. Merry Christmas. Hope everybody gets at least a couple of minutes to enjoy their family and be together with their loved ones. So, anyways, with that being said.
Thanks, Pat. Same to you. With Drew Lock starting this week, how do you kind of start the week of preparation in terms of getting him ready?
It's like a normal week for a starting quarterback. So, obviously, starts by going back and looking at the good and the things that we need to correct from last week's game, and then move forward how it applies to this team. And being a division opponent, we played them once before. So you certainly look at that game, and then you just try to put a plan together that's going to attack them and beat them.
Drew's yesterday that he feels like he's a much better quarterback than he was a year ago. Where do you see the biggest improvement this year?
Yeah, I think I've said it all along. I think because he's a young player, and the longer time goes on and the harder he works, he's going to improve. But I think he's more consistent in what he does. He's got a better understanding of how to play the game at this level, which is different than coming in from college. And, he's a good athlete. He throws the ball. I mean, he's a big, strong thrower. Hopefully put him behind, put him in an operation where we run the ball well. And, he made some really good throws the other night, really good throws. There was a few that come to mind. We were a little loose in protection. He made the nice throw to Big O, right down the sideline. Threw a crossing route to Big O in tight coverage. So he did some nice things the other night. I think for any quarterback, when he's talking about, in his case, the better version of himself, it's just more consistency.
Drew's enthusiasm and energy yesterday was pretty noticeable. Did it translate on the practice field?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's always energetic and works hard, and he understands his role when he's the backup. Now he's a starter, and he's been a starter before, so he understands what that entails.
You don't want to take the wag out of the puppy's tail. He has fun. He loves the game, the way he plays. But how do you keep reminding him you still got to take care of the ball?
Yeah, I mean, that's critical. Taking care of the ball is critical. I mean, turnovers are a bugger, that game's different. We're in a scoring zone, and that puts us ahead. At one point we did get ahead, but that puts us ahead. And that gets us our 17 points, and then the other one was before the half. We put ourselves in a field goal situation, but there were plays in that drive where we could have got closer. And that's 3 and that's 20. And in a hard fought game. Backup quarterback coming in, and that doesn't change any of the other things that happened during the game. And so we got to keep that in mind and just keep rolling. But obviously, in and around all of that, taking care of the football is very important. As you think back, we're much better this year at taking care of the ball than we were a year ago. And I think it helps us in an operation like that, and it's got to continue. And when turnovers turn up and they take scores off the board, that's critical for a team that we have.
Vic said that Miners and Schlupman are your options at center with Cushenberry on the COVID list.
Yeah, well, I just found out. I probably found out like you did this morning. Cush is out. Yeah.
When you have a situation like that, do you try not to disrupt two positions?
Yeah, I mean, we have options there. Obviously, Miners has played center, but Lloyd is also, or Austin has played. So, yeah, I mean, we have options. So we'll see how we disrupt it as we go. I'll let him circle back on that.
Was there more available to you with Drew at quarterback? It looked like there was more pushing the ball downfield when he got in there.
Well, he can. I mean, he can really rip the ball. It's different. You talk about third downs. There's times when we dedicate running the ball on third down in some situations where most teams would pass it, right? And you get them, so they count, and you stay on the field. I watched the Bengals the other night. There was times when the routes were covered really well. I think Joe Burrow scrambled for 3 first downs, which kept them on the field. Drew can give you some of that, so we'll just see how it plays out. Each game is different, but his ability to move his feet in different situations, and he's a big, strong guy, done right, done properly, I think can help us.
Avoided Drew last year. Touchdown, 2 picks over the last 4. Can he build off that, or is that kind of too far removed for?
No, I'm hopeful he can build off it, and I think he can, for sure.
How do you keep a young guy like Jerry Jeudy from getting frustrated, especially when it seems like he's getting open but not making any catches?
I think everybody's just got to keep playing. I mean, that's the nature of a skilled player, right? They want to have production and help win and all that, and I like to think that they come in bunches. You just got to keep working. And that's really the message. Just keep working and do everything in your power to help us win. And when the balls come your way, make plays on them. There's times for whatever reasons he's the targeted guy. We had a couple the other night where he was targeted. There was one in position. We ran a sail route. He was doubled, right? And so then we move. You got to move on. And then there's other situations. Maybe things get a little loose up front, and you got to move, and you got to take your eye. So there's a lot of reasons for it. He's obviously a guy that we want to touch the ball, and just got to keep playing.
Do you think, in that vein, do you think Portland's pressing a little bit right now?
I don't know that. I don't know that. I don't know the pressing thing. I don't have a understanding of that.
What stood out about the Raiders' pass rush the first game and how they've done lately?
They're really good, and they generate pressure with just 4 guys, which helps them coverage-wise. They don't have to be super heroic in some of the things that some teams will try to do with their coverage because they're really good up front. They got a Pro Bowler on most of the time on our right. 91 is good, 90 is good, 77 is good. I mean, I can go down the list of numbers because that's what hits my brain the best. And everybody that's in there has the ability to pass rush, and so that helps them make that's a challenge.
Why do you think the Raiders have struggled so much in the red zone defense?
Why they've struggled so much? I don't know. I guess I'll let our ideas reveal themselves. I don't know. Again, you ask me these questions every week about, I see a real physical group up front. And I see him do a good job of defending passes and runs. And so, we just got to be on point and get it done.
Thanks, Coach.
Was that your son's first time dressing regular season?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he got moved up.
Moved up.
COVID deal. Yeah.
Okay.
So he was fired up.
But
That's a good deal for him. That's where he played his high school ball in Philly, LaSalle High School. So his high school buddies were at the game behind, the bench there. So it's cool enough.
cool.
Were you nervous
Did
for
a
him?
lot of standing around, but he was active, which is pretty cool.
Were you nervous for him? Were you?
No, I'm not.
Kind of exciting though.
He knows what he's doing. Exciting moment though.
Thanks, Pat.
Thanks, Pat.
First start.
Yeah, really good. You know, we've had a snapshot of that with a couple different linebackers. And again, they usually get better in week 2, and it was an excellent start.
Justin and Pat Shurmur in particular, the fact they didn't make the Pro Bowl, what was your reaction?
Yeah, well, we really feel that they were deserving, you know, both of them. You know, I speak for Justin. You know, Justin's the type of guy, you know, he doesn't want to talk about Pro Bowls. He wants to talk about what he can do to help this team get back to the Super Bowl. You know, so all his energy's toward that kind of thing. That's how he works. As far as a deep part of the field, middle safety, you know, his abilities are unmatched, and he has production to verify that. He's the catalyst of this defense. He's the connector. That's why we've been able to play with different combinations of linebackers and it still have flow and continuity. Our red zone's been very good over the last 3 years, you know. And it's not what we do, it's how we do it. And he's a big part of the how. He gets all the little tiny things right at instances to give us a competitive advantage as a defense. This guy's the same guy every day in his preparation. And I can say that for Pat, too. Pat's heading in the right direction on this. And Justin's like a Steve Atwater. Steve Atwater, it wasn't on his terms how he was going to perform every day to his teammates, to his coaches. So that's really important. And you can't have a stronger catalyst for your organization. You see the things he does in the community on top of everything he does to help this team. He, you know, the best way to sum him up, he brings people together, whether it be on the field or in the community. So that's how I feel about Justin.
Can it be a motivator for them? I mean, already playing both so well. Can they be motivated by the snub?
You know, I possibly, but, you know, I think they know deep down inside. I think when the all-pro teams come out, you know, I think he could have a real good chance of being on that. But I think it comes back to they want to just help the team, and the focus is on the Raiders this week, and we know how we have to be on point for that to happen, you know, and getting our team back. And can we win these 3 games and be in contention?
How much has that Raider offense changed now with Waller having to miss the last 3 or 4 games?
Yeah, he's definitely a big part of what they do. You know, he stretches the field in unusual ways. He's a top tier player in this league at his position.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.